Cool, perfect. All right, guys. If everybody, I see a lot of people joining us now. If you can, please type in the chat where you are located and what kind of real estate are you interested in doing or learning more about, just to kind of get a feel for the audience. Like if you're interested in single family, multifamily, self-storage, just give us a little bit of an idea here of what we're working with. And many of you guys know Steve. We're just gonna give it a couple more minutes to get people to log on. We had a lot of registrations. A lot of people registered for the webinar today. I know some of them told me beforehand that they were not going to be able to make it. So we're gonna record this, and it's only going to be available to those who subscribe to the webinar. Let me put this on airplane mode here. No pun intended, right, for this airplane, guys. All right, I see some. David says interested in all of the above. Currently own two single family rental homes. All right, interested in multifamily self-storage. Love it. Robert Keller. Turn off. Right.
Yeah, if you go into the chat, it's kind of easier, Satch.
Oh.
Come on, man. That's webinar 101, brother.
Chat.
Because then other people can see it, I believe. Vacation in the Caribbean now. Interested in multifamily self-storage. Alden, Robert is telling you that you fucked up and your chat is off. David, interested. Okay, cool. So while Satch is fucking around with that, I'll just ask you guys some questions. Is everyone here a pilot, or what does everyone do here? Just so I know. Put in the comments, put in the chat, or wherever you want to be. What do you do? Are you a pilot? Are you a professional? Are you I don't know, fucking garbage guy? Tell me what you guys do. Pilot. All right, Jerry for the win. Jerry's in the chat first. Nailed it, Jerry. Except you sent it just to me and Satch. So if you can, just send it to everyone. PSA, line check airman. Cool, Robert. Nice to meet you. Cool. All right. Challenger. Nice. FlexJet. Very cool, Ben. Awesome. Interested in all the above. Currently don't own anything. FO JetBlue. Nice. I see you guys are JetBlue. I see you guys are going across the pond now. I saw them in Amsterdam the other day. You taxing in, we're like, JetBlue, what the fuck are they doing here? So that's awesome. Saskatoon. Oh, that's not Saskatoon, Lane. Sorry. I know investor girl Britt that's in Saskatoon. I don't think she's there anymore, actually, but I used to coach her. Single family residential. I'm a pilot. Very cool. I'm just fucking around, Satch, until you get your shit together, bro.
Oh, yeah. You're good. I think this works, right? This is what we were trying to do.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, man.
Cool. Awesome. I'd say we give it 2 more minutes and we kick it off at 35 past the hour.
Sounds good. Gabriel, Rockland, California, United Airlines 777 FO. I'm guessing you're based in San Fran. Probably can't answer a previous question. I've done single family and small multi. Okay, cool. Nice. You got a good group here looking at commercial. Very cool.
A lot of pilots. We have others in the Q&A that before we turned the chat on, they jumped on there. Matt,
okay.
No, we have commercial property. He's a pilot. David Milner, airline pilot. Alden, budget analyst. I've talked to Alden many times in the past. Here's in the military, out in Germany. Where do you go, Steve? When you go to Germany, you go to Frankfurt a lot, right?
Yeah, we go to Frankfurt. We stay in downtown Frankfurt or Mainz, but yeah.
How far is Frankfurt for you, Alden? We got Cam. I've spoken to Cam. I think we've texted in the past. He's a pilot. Christina, she used to be a former ExpressJet or yes jet, how they used to call us, right? Because we used to say yes to everything. Whatever they tell us to do, we'll do it. Cool, awesome. So we got a pretty good mix. Single families, a lot of people want to get into commercial. So what I had planned to do for this webinar, we got a pretty good group now. 20 people join us already. I wanted to get into your story, Steve, and I know you do a lot of obviously you coach me right in business, and you do a lot of business stuff, mindset stuff, but I kind of wanted to do today just to go dig into the real estate side of you, because I know obviously that's a big part of you, right? You got into business in real estate, so I wanted to dive into your story, and I think a lot of the pilots here in the group will resonate with your story, because obviously there are a lot of pilots. So we can go over your story and how you got started in real estate, and then just maybe tell us your experience in real estate, where from assets that you have invested in, from all the single family deals to the commercial deals you've done, and just to give a good mix to the audience, and maybe tell us what kind of strategies you have used to acquire those assets, and what the exit was, right? Because every time we acquire a property, there's always an exit, right? You acquire something to either hold it for X amount of time. Many people say forever, but forever, it always comes to an end at one point, right? So the buy and hold method, right? The buy and hold method, it always lasts for 15, 20, 25 years, whatever that is, right? So curious to know your thoughts on that, on like what kind of strategy you're using on different types of assets, and maybe your biggest failure. We can touch on that. How about that?
Just one?
Just one. Just one.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. First of all, it's great to meet everybody. Super excited. Satch, obviously, as some of you may know, I coach him at a very high level. So I've gotten to know Satch and his wife pretty well over the last year and a half, actually. And so I'm a first officer on the 777 out of United, out of Houston. Been with them 25 years. I got hired in 1998. Before that, I used to work for Trans-States, so water ski. I don't think they're around anymore, but I did it when they were Jetstream 31s, Jetstream 41s. Born and raised in Southern California, learned to fly out of there. Didn't know anyone in the airlines. I just kind of used my hard work. And at the time when I got hired at Trans-States, I think I was 21 or 22. Because I couldn't get my ATP yet, because you had to be 23, I think. And I don't know if any of this has changed, but then after I took the first captain upgrade, I was flying out of Fresno, took the first captain upgrade, was out of JFK. So I was a guy from Southern California, flying out of JFK, J41s, up and down the East Coast. I didn't know if Boston was north or south of fucking New York, because the weather was always so crappy. I was in the soup every day. And so I was just being a pilot, right? I was a very, very hard driven person, was going to school, blah, 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 that stuff, while I was trying to get my captain upgrade. I got my degree. I started pushing out resumes to every fucking airline out there. I just wanted to get a job. Continental was the first one that hired me. I didn't know anything about Continental, didn't know where they were. I looked up on their bases, and I was like, and this is back when it was all paper. This is in 1998. And they had a base called Guam. And I was like looking on the map, and it didn't even have a color. It was just a dot. It was so small. And I was like, so then there was Cleveland, Houston, Newark. I grew up in Southern California, but I was like, you know what? I'll take the first upgrade. I'll take the first seniority I can. I get hired with Continental. I get a seniority number with them. All of a sudden I get called from American, Alaska, big TWA. And I was like, you know what? I'm not the best pilot in the world. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm going to take my seniority and stick with it. I went out to Guam. I was in Guam for 3.5 years, flying in the South Pacific, Asia, Australia on the 727. Moved to Houston in August of 2001. So imagine I'm in Houston, no idea anything about Houston. I'm living in an apartment or a hotel, and my stuff is on a ship transiting the Pacific, and 9/11 hits. And 2 days after 9/11 hit, I got a furlough notice. And basically, I was on a list of 1,200 people, and they said, hey, sorry, that safe, secure job that you thought you had, it's not safe. It was never secure. And you're about to be on the street with 50,000 other pilots, worldwide. So good luck. And we're just going to keep chopping to profitability. So I was a little bit up on the seniority list, but every week or month, I forget what it is, they would send out letters. And you're just kind of like a dead man walking. I got pushed out of Houston. I was in Cleveland. I was in Newark. I was on reserve. It was obviously better than losing a job. A lot of guys flowed back to ExpressJet. We had a flow through agreement. So a lot of guys flowed back to there. I wasn't going to do that. I came within 30 numbers of the bottom of seniority. I mean, I was skimming the bottom, which is good, but your life sucks, right? So I decided I was going to do something different, and I was going to keep flying, but I wasn't going to rely on flying to be my only source of income. So I decided that I was going to learn real estate. So I paid a mentor $10,000 to learn how to flip a property. It was, at the time, it was called a double escrow close. Basically, you're doing what's called wholesaling now. I paid the guy the money. He said, "Hey, Steve, if you do what I tell you, it'll work." And I'm thinking, well, shit, I just gave you $10,000 that I don't have. I'm getting furloughed. I need to fucking make this work. I gave him my money. And I'm not kidding you. 30 days later, I'm sitting at a closing table with the phone, passing it to everyone, doing this, what was called this double escrow close. I walk out of the title company with $20,000, and I'm waiting for someone to walk out and basically arrest me or tell me they want their money back or something. And as I'm walking out, no one's coming out. And I'm like, wow, I think this actually just worked. So I call the guy up and I'm like, dude, I can't believe this worked. He's like, it works every time. And I remember I told him, I go, man, you must make a lot of people rich. And he goes, you know what, Steve, surprisingly, you're one of the few people that actually follow through. And I'm like, but if you said, if I do what you told me to do, it would work. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I tell everyone that. They just don't do it. And I go, well, I don't understand why. Like, I have no idea what I just did, but I walked away with $20,000. He goes, dude, if you can figure that out, we'll both be rich. So I took that knowledge of flipping properties. I got very, very good at it. I learned how to systematize it. Same thing that we know in the airlines. I use my mind to do that. I got so good at it, I made enough money to buy my first apartment complex. Bought an apartment complex. There was 4 of us. Go ahead, Satch.
Let me stop you there, because I want to just to tell everyone here, if what he just said about the double escrow or wholesaling, what we call it now, if anybody wants to know more about that, we can always create a separate day or a chat for everyone here in the webinar right now. And this is something that I did for a lot of years, right? I've done over 200 transactions in flipping and doing the double escrow, what Steve is mentioning. And so that can get pretty down into the rabbit holes. So if anybody's interested in doing that, we can always create a chat for everyone interested, and we can talk about that. I no longer do that, but obviously I still know all the strategies and how to do that. Right?
Yeah, and that's a good point, Satch. You know, one thing I want to mention to you guys is the reason I stopped doing it is it was a job. I made a lot of money. One year I made like $400,000. Like, it was a shitload of money, but it was a job. It was a high tax, number one. And as soon as I stopped, it stopped. But I used that money to go to the next level. And that was buy real estate. I wanted to buy real estate because real estate is where wealth is created. So I used that to buy my first apartment complex. And if you want, we can stop here, Satch, and we can kind of, people, I'm happy to answer them, but.
Yeah, I like that, because I think many people know that I was not, once Expression shut down, I was off, not working at all, right? And I was living off of a lot of the income that I was creating from the passive income, plus the properties that I was wholesaling and flipping, right? I had a business, but that essentially, like what you're saying, right? It became a job. So it was a job. So I don't think that is the best fit of something to do for pilots, because when you're putting matching one to the other, wholesaling or flipping properties can be your job, right? So if you're already flying, you're making money doing that. It's almost like if you're trading one thing for another, right? You're just trading your hourly pay at the airlines or the corporate job, whatever you're doing, for going and making money, sometimes even less, right? If you lose money in the flip, but you're just trading one for the other, right? So to me, that doesn't seem the most viable option for many of us, and especially in this webinar today, because we're making pretty good money flying. So to me, the best thing to do is to use the money that you're already making at your current job and leverage real estate, right? Leverage that money as a down payment for real estate, for some property. Like many people are here already doing that, right? A single family home, a commercial property, a piece of something, right? Instead of trading your activity for another activity.
Yeah, and it's a good point. This is just my opinion. I got mad when I got furloughed. When I got the furlough notice, I got mad at myself. And the reason I got mad at myself is I got lazy. I started listening to what everyone else was telling me. Oh, Steve, you got a job as an airline pilot. You're golden. Nothing can go wrong. Act of Congress. I remember all this bullshit people told me. But when I actually, the swipe of the pen came and I got delivered the notice, none of those people were around. And I thought to myself, how fucking stupid was I to believe these people? And they're like, yeah, sorry, man. I guess I called that one wrong. I'm like, called it wrong? Like, dude, like I believed in what you said. So I was mad at myself. Listen, we're all successful people, right? If we're sitting here and you're a pilot, you're successful people. The one thing I will tell you, and I'm telling you this right now, there are bad times coming for everybody. Make no mistake. And if you sit there and think you're golden and you buy the Captain House and all the bullshit stuff, and you're thinking it's going to ride you through, you are in for a very scary ride in life. Because I've been doing this, almost 30 years, 25 years at Continental United. I have seen the ups and downs. I love flying. I'll never stop flying, but I don't rely on it. And that was the thing, is I got pissed at myself because I let myself stop my quest to be better because I listened to what people told me. So again, I know right now times are good and there's multiple hiring. It is a pendulum. It swings both ways. And I have seen it. And, I've had people ask me, what's the difference of me today to the difference of me 20 years ago after 9/11? I only have one word, is I took action. I actually took massive action. And was there a lot of wrong action? Absolutely. I have made more mistakes and I probably lost more money than many of you have made. But the mistakes that I've made have helped me become successful because I'm willing to learn from them. And I'm humble enough to do that. So I'm not the smartest guy out there. I guarantee you. One thing, just real quick, Satch, and we can keep going, is your job will make you rich, right? Your job can make you live well. But really, we're just higher paid employees. You are at the mercy of a company. You're one CEO away from disaster. Your business will make you well off. Real estate will make you wealthy. And when I say wealthy, I'm talking legacy wealthy. I believe you take the money from your job and go buy real estate with it. That's what I do. That's what Satch does. Listen, however you want to quantify it or whatever, don't stop at just being a pilot, because I'm telling you, I've seen so many people get to the end of their career. I remember 9/11, guys were like 59 years old and they were like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Like, everything is gone. And I'm like, well, did you do anything else? Now I'm learning real estate. I'm like, did you invest in real estate? No, I didn't want to do that. And I'm like, sucks to be you, man. And then they had to keep working after retirement because they didn't have a retirement because it got wiped away in the bankruptcy. So that's just my for whatever it's worth, that's what I've learned through the years.
Yeah, love it. And guys, bear with me. This is my first Zoom webinar sort of thing. So it's not doing what I thought it was going to do. So chime in with your questions as we go. I thought I was going to be able to see everyone on the little squares and raise your hand if you have a question and you want to say something, or just throw it in the chat, and that way we can answer those questions as we go. I really thought I was going to be able to see this a little bit different, but I want to be able to get to everybody's questions as we go.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer anything for you guys. I can keep going with my story if you want, Satch, or you can just ask.
Let's talk about building that real estate portfolio, because you say you worked, you did some flips, you did some wholesaling, and then you buy your first apartment complex. Did you buy your first apartment complex before buying a single family home to do a buy and hold strategy, or
I think I had one or two rentals because I learned how to find deals, and it was like, well, this is a pretty good deal. In Houston, the average rental property was like $100,000. So I was like, well, shit, this is a good deal. I was getting it at 60. I negotiated to 60. It was a turnkey. So I think I had one or two before I bought my first apartment. But what's interesting is, so I partnered with 4 people in this apartment complex. It was like it wasn't very big. It was like 50 units or something. But they wanted to learn what I did. I wanted to learn what they did. They're like, dude, I want to learn how to. I was, when I was flipping properties, I was doing $20,000 to $25,000 per flip. That's all. When I would do the double escrow close, it was 20. That was all I would. If I didn't make that much, I didn't do the deal. So I was making my money on negotiating, and it was every 30 days. I was doing probably like 2 to 3 deals a month on these transactions. So don't get me wrong, it was great money, but it was a lot of work. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I wanted to have passive. So after we ended up selling that apartment complex for cash to the church next door. The church next door was landlocked and they wanted it for a parking lot. And so they paid us the value, the NOI value of what the business was operating, which was a lot of money for a parking lot, but they did.
Wow.
So I thought, again, thinking I'm the smartest person in the world, I just sold an apartment complex for a lot of money. Man, nothing can go wrong. My business partner says to me, he goes, hey man, he goes, I found these great deals. I'm like, really? What are they? And he goes, they're houses and they're pretty cheap. I'm like, really? I'm like, what are they? He goes, they're called low income houses and there's a ton of them. And he goes, our return is like 60 to 70%. I'm like, wow. I'm like, well, let's buy some. So not only did we buy some, in the first year, we bought 20 of them. And then we realized why people don't own low income houses, because of the problems and the tenants and the maintenance and all the bullshit. So once we started realizing we had a problem, and all of a sudden we realized, wow, this is not the business model that we thought it was. This is not working the way we thought it would work, but we're smart guys. We could figure this out. So what do? We buy another 15. Imagine putting gasoline on a bonfire and just lighting this thing up, and it just exploded in our faces. All of a sudden, we have like 30 or 40 of these houses. Our average occupancy rate is 8 months. Our make-ready costs are 3 times the amount, because every time a tenant left, they would take parting gifts like wiring, electrical. I had like, I could tell you stories. I wrote a book on all of this, and it was like, I've got to be on fucking TV. Like, there's no way this is real, but it was real. And what I will tell you, the most stressful part was the mental stress that I was putting myself through, because I didn't know how to fix it. Because, we get that tunnel vision, like in the sim and stuff, we get that tunnel vision. I had that tunnel vision that I could fix it, and I couldn't. And finally, like an addict, I had to stop buying shitty houses because I didn't know how to stop it. And so we had about 40 something houses. About 30% of them were good. 70% of them were horrible. I mean, I'm talking horrible. It wasn't that the house was horrible. The business model that we had inside of the house was the wrong business model. And so we were losing a lot of money. We're about to go bankrupt. And the worst part is I put myself in that position. Like, I knew I did this on my own. 9/11, I can blame on the terrorists. This was my own fuck up, and I did it. And so that was a hard pill for me to swallow. So if you want to stop here, we can stop here and delve into that.
No, I love it. And Robert just asked if you're still coaching. So yeah.
Yeah, I still coach real estate investors. By the way, does anybody follow me on social media? Do you guys follow me on Instagram or any of those things? If you follow me on Instagram, I do a lot of stories. Actually, after we're done with this, I got to change into my regular clothes. I'm flying to London tonight. But for what I wanted to do for you guys, I'm going to put in the chat. If you go to Instagram and you send me a message of just, you type in Cashflow Pro, I'm going to give you all a free gift. It's just a cash flow analysis tool that I use along with me and Ashley Kerr created it from Bigger Pockets, because I used to coach her. So we created this. So I want to give it as a free gift. So just type in Cashflow Pro. It's got to be one word, and I'm happy to give you guys a free gift. So I do coaching. I do mentoring. Satch can give you my information. I'm not here to solicit anything. Not on the gram. You can do it in Facebook if you send me a Facebook Messenger too. But again, I'm here for you guys. But again, if you guys do, I'm happy to help you guys. But no, don't do it here. Go to Instagram and do it. You can do it here, but it's not going to get you anything. If you go to Instagram and do it, you'll get it there.
Cam, I saw you lift your hand, but I don't know how to let you speak again.
Where's he at? Cam?
Yeah, I saw he raised his hand, but I don't know how to allow him to speak. So Cam, if you can just throw in your question in the chat. Okay, cool. He says he just follow you on social media.
Cool.
So I want to talk about that apartment complex, just to give some people here in the audience like an actionable steps, right? So for every deal, there is 3 parts of it, right? You can get involved in a real estate deal by you need one of 3 things. You either need the money, you need the experience, or you need the deal itself, right?
Yep.
Either have it on a contract, know the seller, whatever, right? Some connection to like, hey, like if I come to you, Steve, and I say, hey, Steve, I got this great deal. I have it under contract. I can do the project, whatever the strategy is that we decide, right? Like a flip or a buy and hold. I can manage it, whatever it is. All I need is the down payment, do you want to partner with me? Can we do this deal together? Right? Those are the three pieces that you need for every deal, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you got one of those three, you can partner with people that have the other two, and get deals done. So I kind of want to break down either the apartment complex or maybe those another deal so that people can take some action. So how to find a deal, or how to
Yeah,
put.
absolutely. And I don't want to go through my story. You can, you can buy my fucking book and get my story, but so I don't want to waste your guys' time with that. But so yeah, so I think what's important to understand when it comes to real estate, and I'd like to start getting into the nitty-gritty, is when it comes to real estate is a business, right? You have income, you have expenses, you have profit, and you have loss. There is a business model inside of it's just four walls and a roof. That's all it is. And so you're basically creating a business model inside of the four walls of the roof to basically make it more profitable, just to get more money. That's it, right? And then there's an exit. You mentioned earlier, you got to have an exit. You don't get on the freeway without knowing where you're getting off. Yes or no? And if there's traffic, you may have to have different exits. When you buy real estate, you need to know what is your exit. So where are you getting off the freeway? And that exit is based on your goal. So one of the biggest challenges people have is like, Steve, I get people just like here, and I don't know anyone's experience, so I'm not gonna prejudge, but people say like, oh, I want to do multifamily. Why? I don't know, there's more money. Fuck, you can pick up more trips and make more money. Like, money has nothing to do with it. So multifamily, commercial, what is the goal? Let me put it in our terms. When we get in the plane, we know where we're going, right? We know our destination. So let's say we're going from, I'll use Houston. We're going from Houston to Honolulu, Hawaii, right? We know what time we're landing in Hawaii, and we reverse engineer the flight, or dispatch does, whatever. We know the routing. We know the weather. We know how much fuel we're going to have. We know what the runway we're going to land on. We know what gate we're going to park at. We know what runway we're going to take off at. We reverse engineer the whole flight, and we check everything in the well, for us, it's the flight planning room, but we're checking everything before we get in the cockpit. We don't just get in the cockpit and go, hey, I'm not sure, where do you guys want to go today? Hey, Seth, you want to go to Hawaii? Hey, Derek, you want to go to Rio? Who wants to go to Alaska? Raise your hand. No, we have a destination. Everyone on that plane knows they're going to Hawaii with us. So we know the destination. We know how long it's going to take. We know what it looks like, and we reverse engineer the flight. How is your investing business any different? Who here knows their destination? They know their routing. They know their flight plan. They know how much fuel they're going to need. I love when people come up to me, and let's say I'm speaking at a Bigger Pockets event or something like that, and they take a piece of paper and they shove it real close to my face, like that's going to make it any better. And they're like, hey, Steve, is this a good deal? Dude, I don't know. If you're going to Hawaii, but you're heading south to Rio, probably not a good deal. Where are you going? What does your goal look like? If you can't tell me, Steve, I want to have a $50 million portfolio with $10 million in assets, and I want to have a 35% profit margin where I'm working 3 hours a week. Now we know the destination. And more importantly, what time do you land the plane? Do you guys have a date that you actually reach the goal of where you want to be? Because if not, you're just driving northbound. You get on I-5, you're heading north. Where are you going? I don't know, but I'm making good time. Where's the exit to reach your goal? So Sap said earlier, and I agree with him. Does that make sense, everyone? I'm trying to put it in a perspective that you reverse engineer your life based on your goal, but you've got to have a date. Put in the comments, just curious, anyone here, Gabriel, Derek, we got Christina, put in the comments if you guys have a goal of what you want, and is it actually tangible? Do you have a money, time, way to get there, and a date? Anyone? I don't see any comments. I'm guessing that's a no.
Christina says she doesn't.
Many of us don't. And listen, the reason I know this is I didn't. I did not have any of these things. Why? Because I bought 40 shitty properties because I thought they were good deals. But if somebody said, Steve, why are you buying these properties? I would have said, oh, I want to have properties that go up in value, that I have positive cash flow when I retire. They're going to go, Steve, that's not these deals. These deals are high cash flow, high productivity, low appreciation properties. Oh, I probably shouldn't buy those. I don't blame anyone. I blame myself for not finding the destination first. So again, just think of it like flying a plane. You plan the destination and work it backwards. You don't get up in the air and go, gee, I wonder if we have enough fuel today. You plan the fuel before you take off. Same thing with your life. Same thing with your real estate investing career.
Yeah, I like what you said, because most people know that I'm very focused in multifamily only. And even though I can find pros and cons to multifamily, I can find pros and cons to single families. I don't necessarily think that one is better than the other. I prefer to be focused on the one thing because I know what the strategy is with that fits my life, my business model that I have for my business, obviously. And anything outside of that is a distraction. I get plenty of deals sent to me like, hey, this is a discounted properties that I can flip. But anytime I spend doing that, it's time I'm not spending in or like looking at multifamily deals, right? So to me, anything outside of that is a distraction. So don't let anybody tell you that one thing is better than the other, right? Because everybody will come and show you a beautiful picture and tell you how the thing you're looking at is probably not a good deal, right? Hey, you look at my deal is a better strategy than yours, but everybody's goal is different. So because everybody's goals is different, then whatever strategy you're using will be different, right? Maybe you're a guy that is just, you should be buying single family homes and build your portfolio based on single family homes.
And listen, I think that, I've got a good buddy of mine. I know a lot of people in real estate. I've got one friend of mine. He owned 1,200 units. Engineer, went to Carnegie Mellon. Very, very sharp guy. He's like, you know what? I don't like these. Has sold them all because he didn't like dealing with partners and all the drama that goes on with that could happen. He owns 50 houses free and clear. He's like, you know what? My life is easy. I own 50 properties free and clear. I'm making all this cash flow. I'm a VP for an oil company. This is what I want. That's his destination. So again, we may start off thinking this is our destination, and then we got to change routing, right? We got to pivot. But at least we got to have some sort of goal. So I think Abiri is saying, what would you say are the elements of a good destination? I can't answer that because I don't know what your goals are in life. I don't know how old you are. I don't know your destination. If I talk to you, I could break it up, because what you got to do is you got to take your, you got to make what's called a SMART goal. A SMART goal is specific, it's measurable, it's action oriented, it's result, and it's time. So that's a SMART goal. So I would first say, what's your SMART goal? And then your life should work around the SMART goal. But I'd have to know more about you. What is a goal? So you're talking about what I own, right? You're talking about what I own. So I own a lot of stuff, right? I own a lot of real estate. I'm in deals with people like, Brandon Turner and this guy, AJ Osborne. I own self-storage facilities. I own apartment complexes. I have a different goal than you. So if I said, hey, Satch, you should get in this deal. It's about $1.5 million to get in. You're going to lose about $100,000 a year on this deal, but down the road, we'll make about $3 million on this. That's a good deal, Satch. You should do it. You're going to go, good fucking deal for you. It's going to make me go bankrupt. So what's a good deal for me may not be a good deal for you. I can't give you the strategy unless I know what your goal is. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah. Aldon asks, what's the name of the book?
Failing Our Way to Millions, Building an Empire. You can get it on, it's on Amazon. I even think it's on Audible too, believe it or not.
Who spoke? You're the one? Is your voice?
Yeah, it is. It's my voice.
Is it really?
Yeah, I narrated it. What, you think I can't narrate a book, man? I can talk on the radios.
No, I like audiobooks that the actual author is the one that talks to them, because when you have an idea of what the person that wrote the book sounds like, and then when somebody else is the one narrating the book, it's kind of like just a little a shock in the audio, right? Yeah,
it's a pretty funny. I mean, listen, it is a no shit down and dirty of what it takes to build a face for radio. Exactly. It's a no shit account of what me and my business partner did. Now, we ended up building a property management company that scaled to over 1,000 units. And then we sold that for millions of dollars to a venture capital firm. So I do know what I'm talking about, just so we're clear here. And that's when I started doing stuff with Bigger Pockets and other stuff like that. But I had to know what I was doing, and I had to understand a lot of these strategies. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've had a lot of successes. I will tell you all, one of your biggest you guys are in an elite group, right? Pilots are very unique and elite. We think differently. We have the ability to make a lot of money, but sometimes that's our downfall. Sometimes we get cocky. Sometimes we think we're smarter than other people. Your relationships, people like Satch, maybe even people like me, that my Rolodex, as Satch knows, is pretty strong. I know people that I get in front of, and I can get people in front of people that you wouldn't normally get in front of, not because I'm smarter, but because I value relationships. And so what you guys need to think about is, how do you build relationships? Your success is not built on your checking account. Your success is built on your human capital.
So to rephrase that, and David says not finding the book on Amazon. Can you guys send a link later? Yeah, we'll send you the link, David, to his book. So to rephrase that, and I kind of wanted to circle back to, I think, the building your $1 million portfolio, right? Which that can be subjective. I mean, $1 million is not much, right? It's just if you can buy four single.
You can own one house in in California with $1 million portfolio. Congratulations.
Yeah, but the thought behind it is, obviously we want to build a pretty large portfolio in real estate, right? With thought behind it is that the cash flow from it is substantial enough to so that we can become financially free. Right? I think that's probably most people's thought behind that. And so what you were saying earlier is, to grow, you're thinking of it more in a human capital, build those relationships, as opposed to simply growing your bank account. Because I think the traditional way is, I'll go to work, I'll build my cash account, and then I'll have money for a down payment, right? And every time you're putting 25%, I'm using a family home, and then, but it just seems like a slow way to grow your portfolio, right?
Well, what it is, but more importantly, and I put myself in the same category when I say this. You are sold on a sales plan from the banks to say this is the only way you can buy real estate. That's the only way you can buy real estate is you get a job, you get in debt, and then you go put 25% down. And so we assume that's gospel. We assume that's the only way it works. But what if they were wrong? What if that was the only way they could make money? And so I coach a lot of people in real estate, and I coach a lot of pilots, obviously. I coach a lot of people on how to get private money, how to get seller financing, how to do what's called a wrap mortgage. There are so many ways. How to do a syndication. You know what? My opinion and where I am in life, I don't want to learn about apartment complexes and deals. I'd rather just say, Satch, let me give you money and you do it. You want to do it? Fucking knock yourself out. I don't want to do it. I'm willing to leverage my money with my time. So I think it's important to understand that you've got to understand, what do you want and what are you willing to do to get it? And more importantly, we're just assuming that 20%, 25% with a bank loan. But we all know people out there that don't do it. We just don't know how. So again, I go back to the question. A lot of times we think, how do you do it? How do you do it? Maybe you're asking the wrong question. Maybe the question is who do you need to talk to learn from people like Satch, people like me, to go, you know what? Maybe I'm asking the wrong questions. Maybe I need to ask who questions, not how questions. There's a great book out there by Dan Sullivan called Who Not How. And it talks about, again, we always think how. Maybe that's the wrong question. And so I think that when it comes to building massive portfolios, and listen, I'm in deals, like I said, I'm in some pretty big deals with people. I could learn it, but I don't want to. Why? Because that's not my passion. My passion is not owning apartment complexes. I own them. Why? Because it's a revenue generating tool. I don't want to go to fucking Boise, Idaho. No offense to Boise, Idaho, and go buy the Statesman newspaper building and figure out how to turn it into one of the biggest self-storage facilities. But I'm invested in it because the people I know say, hey, Steve, we've got a deal. Do you want to be in on this? So my human capital of knowing people, could I learn how to do it? I could, but it'll take me years and I'll probably still fuck it up. Why not just make one phone call and say, hey, man, I want to put in on this deal. I want in on this deal. My relationships is what got me on this deal. And I just think that's so much more important, especially, listen, people always say, well, Steve, if you're so successful, why do you fly? I love flying. I've wanted to do it since I was a little kid. But you know what, though? I don't care about any politics, any drama, any union, any company. I fly 3 times a month. I go to London. I go to Tokyo. I go to Buenos Aires. I go to Hawaii, Frankfurt, 3 times a month. It's a pretty cool fucking job. And you know what? When you don't need it, it's an even better job. Because I'm like, I don't fucking need this shit. Like, I don't care about the union. I don't care about anything. They're like, oh, do you see this? Do you see that? Nope. I'm minding my own business. I come to work. I do my job. I love it. I enjoy it. And then I go home. So I don't know where I was going with that, Satch, but I think it's just a matter of that human capital of knowing what you want and understanding it's not just about how to buy a house or how to buy a apartment. I would rather give you my money, to be honest. I have no desire to do this because I've got other shit I want to do, right? And we're not going to be good at a bunch of things. The one thing I've learned in life, and you know this, focus on one thing. When you had your flipping business and you asked me, Steve, which one should I keep? I'm like, first of all, which one is a business? The flipping is not a business, it's a job. So that's number one. So do you want a job or do you want a business? Do you want to create income or do you want to create wealth, right? Flipping is a job that creates income. Real estate is a legacy wealth building tool. So which one do you want? I don't give a shit which one you do. Pick a lane. You're not going to do both of them good. So yeah. I think it's important for you guys to understand. I saw some people, and the reason I bring this up is there were some people in the group that were like, I do small single family, small multifamily. I want to learn commercial. I think that's a mistake. I think you pick a lane and you stay in that lane. Don't deviate from what you do. Be the best that you could be by staying in your lane.
Man, dropping bombs over here. Illich, I don't know if I'm saying, I know we've spoken a few times, but I don't think we have chat on the phone. I don't know if I'm saying your name incorrectly, Illich. I see you're posting there about you want to make more passive income that you make on your current airline job. I don't have a clear definition of which way I want to go because I'm still trying to learn about the business. Got it. So I think that can go a lot of different ways, right? We can probably discuss that more on a separate call to get more nitty-gritty on your question there. For everyone that currently has single family homes, or you already own some self-storage or some multifamily, can you throw in the chat the question on what's your biggest barrier that is stopping you from growing your portfolio to where you want it to go? What's the one thing preventing you from growing your portfolio to where you want it to be? Steve, is cash a good objection?
Fuck no. It's your mindset. It's between your ears. Listen, that's just, I mean, I can tell it like it is. I can be nice or I can be honest. I can't be both. The reality is everyone's challenge here with getting the goals that they want to achieve is between their ears. If a gun is pointed up against your head or someone is holding your child hostage, you will do shit that you've never imagined you could do because your should becomes a must. When you get furloughed and your back's against the wall, you will do shit. I never wanted to own real estate. I never thought I'd be a real estate investor. That was never my plan. But my back was against the wall and I had to figure it out. So could you do it? You could do whatever you want to do. It's fucking, I mean, we're talking to airline pilots, very successful, smart people. For someone to tell me I can't do something, I'm like, you can't or you won't. Don't tell me you can't. Just say, you know what? Here's my thing. And listen, Satch, you know me. I don't pull any punches when I coach people. If you're not going to do it, just say, you know what, Steve? Doing this and building wealth is not a priority for me right now. That's different. It's not a priority for me to be successful in real estate. Okay, that's fine. Totally cool. It doesn't have to be. But don't give me some bullshit answer saying, well, I don't have time. You know what? You make time. You get up 3 hours earlier. You do what you got to do. And so I'm just a big believer. And again, I may not be for everyone. I get that. But my thing is like, don't tell me you can't do something. Just tell me it's not important to you and I'll accept that. That's an easier thing for me to accept.
Yeah. Alexis put
Sorry, man.
No, that's good. I love it, man. I love it. And it truly is mindset, right? Because and this kind of ties into the question Alexis just put in the chat here in the Q&A. Alexis Espinal says, is there any other way? And I kind of want to chime in on this. Any other way than putting 20 to 25% down for every property you buy? Yes, there's another way. And we're not going to go all the way into the details on how to do that, because obviously that's a whole topic in itself that you got to go study and learn, right? But obviously you can get a book and learn that. But so the simple answer is yes, there's another way. One is you can partner with other people that have the money, right? You don't have to own every single property 100%. Or do you own every single property 100%, Steve?
No way.
So you don't have to own every single property 100% yourself, right? So partner with other people that have the money. That's one way, right? So how to raise capital so that you can use that capital to put that down, that 20 to 25% down. That's pretty simple to understand. What you gotta go and learn is how to structure the deal so that it is a win-win for both, right? The people that are putting the capital in the deal and you that will be managing the deal. Another way is to get creative with the seller, right? You can do some creative financing with the seller. You can ask the seller to, hey, can you hold down the 20 or 25% down? You can literally get a deal with $0 down, and you can negotiate what kind of interest you're going to give the seller, and it's called seller finance. And they will essentially sell you the house if their house is paid off. They can become the bank and they sell you the property. And then you just structure the deal in a way that is a win-win situation again, right? So you don't have to put any money down. You just have to make sure the numbers work and the cash flows. If you get Steve's cash flow analysis, you can run the numbers and make sure it works, right? But again, that's a whole thing that you got to go and learn how to run the numbers to make sure it works. But so I give you two strategies there so that you don't have to be putting the money down yourself every time, right? One, partner with others to have the capital and just and going together in the deal, just learn how to structure the deal so that it's a win-win. And the other way is to do the seller finance, right? It takes a little bit of work, but it's just a mindset thing, right? You just gotta find those deals to do the seller finance deal. There's plenty of sellers out there that want to do those type of deals because the convenient way for sellers is that they don't have to pay taxes on the lump sum, right? If you go get a loan from the bank and you buy their property outright, now just putting numbers out there, they just got $400,000 in their pocket, and they're gonna go have to pay capital gain tax on all that money. But if they do the seller finance to you, now they're and they don't need the money, then they're just getting smaller payments every time, right? And so it's more convenient for them tax wise. So there is a lot of ways to structure deals in a win-win situation where you don't have to put all the money down. Cam, Steve, you want to add anything to that? I don't know if there's.
Listen, I think, you know, I know a lot of people that do, and I coach a lot of people that want to get private money. They want to learn how to get private money. You can do a deal with no money down. Where is it written? Where is this holy grail that says, hey, you've got to put 20% down, 20%? They just pull a number and that's their rule, but that's their lending rule based on FDIC because it's government insured. The government says, hey, we want to secure the loan. The way we secure the loan is by making sure you've got skin in the game. I could sell a deal. In the one thing I just want to, a couple things. And again, we don't need to go too in depth in this, but when it comes to financing, seller financing, number one, people think they're asking for the deal. They're not. You're creating a business opportunity. I may not want to take that tax hit. I make quite a bit of money every year. If there's a way for me to not take that tax hit this year and push it downstream, that's a good deal. There's no taking advantage. It's a mutual decision for me to go, you know what? I'll do that deal, right? So there's number one, that's one thing. Number two, people just don't understand that it's all about the relationship with the person. It goes back to being relationship driven, to being able to have someone that you're able to add value. And I talk to people all the time about getting other people's money, right? Just like what you do, Satch, where, hey, you know, you're gonna pool together some people's money to go buy something. Why should you use your money if there's other money out there that you can capitalize on? You're doing a favor for everyone. People go like, oh, I don't want to borrow money. And I'll ask them, why don't you want to borrow money? Well, if I lose it, I'm going to feel bad. Here's my question. So what you're saying is if you're willing to lose the bank's money, that's okay. That tells me you have a moral and ethical challenge with yourself. Never, ever be okay with losing anyone's fucking money, right? So why is it okay to lose a bank's money? I get it's a nondescript person, but everybody, whenever you borrow money, money is like a weapon, right? You've got to be very, very careful with it. It's a tool, but it can also kill you. So when you borrow money from a person or a bank, it should be treated exactly the same. You should always be focused on getting the money back. If Satch says, hey, Steve, I want to borrow $1 million. My first question is what's my return? And when do I get my money back? If he's like, I'm not sure, I've got a good gut feeling, I'm going to go, well, sorry, man, that doesn't work for me. Does that make sense to everyone? Hopefully it does.
Yeah. Cam, can you elaborate? I know when we talked about what's preventing you from growing your portfolio and acquiring more properties, you put on there failure and loss opportunity cost. Just kind of want to understand that so we can break it down. And guys, we have 10 more minutes left. We'll wrap it up here at in 11 minutes, actually 30 minutes past the hour. So just throw in your questions in the chat so we can get to them before we have to wrap this one up. And Gabriel says, do syndications have the same tax advantages as more active real estate deals? You want to jump on that one, Steve, or you want to?
I honestly, I think a lot of people, the answer to answer your question is, it depends on your situation, right? There's so many variables to that. And I hate to say that, but do they have the same tax advantages as more active real estate deals? I don't know what your determination is of an active real estate deal. So I think definitions are important. So what is your definition of an active real estate deal? Are you doing something where you're a real estate professional and you're getting a tax break? Honestly, I go back to leverage. Just like if I was going to invest, I would give Satch my money. If I do my taxes, I hire a CPA. They do my taxes for me. I give them all my shit and they're like, Steve, we need you to cut a check, or Steve, you're going to get this back. I honestly couldn't tell you based on your question. I would need to know more. Like we'd have to have a conversation. Never ever do a real estate or don't do a real estate transactions based on tax savings, in my opinion. You do it based on the investment and the return on your capital and the wealth that you're going to create. Tax savings or tax cost is just a cost of doing business, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'll throw in my 2 cents there on that question, Gabriel. Because I know that a lot of syndications, and obviously the ones that we do as well, one of the advantages that we put on our deals is the ability to depreciate, right? But a lot of times, at least for us that are pilots, W2 earners, you can't use a lot of those depreciation in your income, right? Because you can offset passive income against active income. And obviously we're not CPAs. None of this is actual.
Not giving tax advice. I'm not giving advice. I'm not any of those people.
Yeah, but this is coming from a CPA, right? We cannot offset none of my W2 income. I can offset it with my depreciation, my losses from all of my syndications. But I think what you mean is from like doing flips, right? So like you're doing flips is, if you do a flip, that's just like getting more money from your W2 route, right? It's just more income. As to where, depending on syndication, how long you hold it, it can become a long-term capital gains, which is taxed at a lower bracket. So that would be the biggest advantage there. But you can do the same thing, not necessarily with a syndication. If you just hold a property for more than a year, and then you sell it, then whatever gain you get from that is going to be long-term capital gains. And by the way, guys, I think we have scheduled for December, my CPA will actually come on a webinar, and we're going to talk about all syndications. He is an expert in syndication, so we're going to make sure that everybody gets a chance to ask all the kinds of questions.
Just real quick, Ebery, I hope I'm saying this correctly. Ebery is asking, what's the first step? I feel like I'm doing it by getting smarter here. What else am I thinking of? So this is just my opinion. We all learn to fly, not by reading a book and not by watching a YouTube video. The way that we learned to fly is we had to go up in the air with an instructor, and the instructor taught us how to fly. Yes or no? I'm hoping everyone did. How is that different than real estate? When I learned how to flip real estate, I got a mentor. If you want to learn, either have Satch or me or someone guide you down the path. You're going down a dark path that I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of people lose everything they own because they thought they were going and they should have made a left and they made a right. I just think that if you're going to go down this path and you really want to be successful at this, you need to align yourself with someone that knows what they're doing. And you've got to make sure, obviously, you're comfortable with and everything, but get a mentor, get someone to guide you, right? Don't try to do it yourself. As pilots, we know we don't do it ourselves. We do it because of guidance, right? We've been trained. Every time we go into a new aircraft, we get trained. How is this any different? You want to be successful, do it the right way. Don't do it cheap, because you will go broke being cheap. I'll tell you that. And then what are your thoughts on renting upscale single family homes? as a VRBO? That's kind of a longer question, David, but my answer is depends on your goal. I can't answer that because I don't know what your goal is. Remember, real estate is a strategy. It's like a freeway. The freeway gets you to a destination. So if you're like, hey, Steve, I'm going to use short-term rentals, BRRRR, long-term rentals, commercial properties, all these things. Don't identify yourself as that type of investor. Go to the goal. That's like saying I'm the 405 freeway. Yeah, but where the fuck are you going? So have a goal with where you're going. Don't just be the freeway, be the destination. So David, to answer your question, I'd have to know more about what your destination is. And then I would say, does this get you to your destination? Does the 405 freeway, meaning a upscale VRBO, get you to your goal? If you're like, hey, I'm just making money, well, what's the goal of making money? Because we could just pick up trips to make money. That's not why we're doing this. Does that make sense, everyone? I don't know if that answered it, but
Yeah.
awesome.
And I will tell you from my personal experience on the upscale single family homes, because we have over how many homes we have now? This is like around 130 single family homes in our fund that we do short-term rentals, and we don't go farther than $750,000 on the price point. And one of the metrics that we look for is that we are able to convert those short-term rentals into long-term rentals and at least break even. That's one of our safety nets there, right? So at a certain price point, the ratio between the price versus the rent just doesn't make sense anymore. So hopefully that helps. Christina says, with rates as high as they are, I'm tempted to just take my cash and ladder into 20-year bonds on a monthly basis to get steady income after 12 months, which might yield more than income from rentals. Just a thought.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Can I chime in on this real quick, Satch?
Yeah.
So you buy real estate for 5 reasons: cash flow, equity capture, debt pay down, depreciation, appreciation. 5 things. So Christina, you called one. Okay, that's cool. I get it. Do we need cash flow? We don't really need, I mean, I don't know your situation, but in general, that's not the main reason. That's why people think they should or shouldn't buy real estate. That's actually not the reason you buy real estate. So there's multiple factors to buying real estate. If that's part of your strategy to get your goal, totally cool. I get it. But that's not normally, that is the thing. Oh, sorry. So it's cash flow, equity capture, meaning you capture the equity when you buy the property, debt pay down, meaning the tenant is going to pay down your debt, depreciation, depreciating the asset, and appreciation. 5 reasons. Saying cash flow, it doesn't make cash flow. Well, you still have a tenant paying down you still are capturing equity. Possibly you're getting a tenant to pay down the debt to 0. You're going to depreciate the asset no matter what, and it's going to go up in value. Is cash flow really the reason? It may be. If you don't have a job or you don't have enough money to survive, cash flow is important. I used to think cash flow was important because it was good for my ego. I wanted to say I had all these cash flow properties. Appreciation was the key. If you think of any property that you could have bought 30 years ago in the hometown that you grew up in, besides maybe Detroit, but other than that, any town you grew up in 30 years ago, think of what that house is worth today. Appreciation will eclipse any of those things. So we don't normally buy on cash flow. We think that's the reason. I train people, that's not the reason. And so again, I'm not saying you don't, Christine. I'm not trying to say you don't, but my answer was I'd be cautious to go that route. There's nothing wrong with the safety of bonds. I'm not trying to say do something, but I am saying be very, very careful talking yourself into something because that's your rationale. Because like I said, that's why you need somebody to guide you, because I may go, wait a second. Let's look at it from another angle. Maybe that's not saying it's wrong. It just may not be the right angle for you. So that's my answer.
Cool. Love it. And I'm reading Noah's question here. First off, thank you guys for your time. I'm currently in my early 20s in new hire trading at a regional airline. Congrats, man. Which seems fairly young compared to others. I have no experience with real estate up to this point, but I've been trying to self-educate and get my feet as wet as possible. If you're interested in having a mentor, as I have had throughout aviation, to help me guide decisions to get me to this point, any extra advice from either of you guys really appreciate it. Or even just a finger pointing in a direction to continue my education. Thanks. Yeah. So Noah, you want to elaborate on that, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, congratulations, Noah. Hats off to you. My advice is, there's a lot of free forums out there. Bigger Pockets is a great thing. My friend Ashley Kerr, I coached her. She's got a podcast, the Real Estate Rookie Podcast Show on Bigger Pockets. There's a lot of knowledge out there, so you can self-educate yourself pretty good. If you want to get a mentor and you're willing to invest in yourself, just like you have to invest. I think you get out of free what you get into it. Free is free, and there's a cost for free. Sometimes people want to accelerate that, like Satch did. He hired me to coach him. I'm not saying I'm right for everyone, but I'm just saying that find someone who aligns with you that can get you to your goal. Satch wanted me because I'm a pilot. I'm very involved in real estate. I look at it differently. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but why wouldn't you just get someone who's been down the path, right? I mean, you can figure it out on your own, but it's better. So there's a lot of free stuff out there. There's a lot of books to read, but at some point you've got to take action. And when you're taking action, it's better to get up in the plane with someone who's flown the plane than somebody who you're reading a book and you're going like, fuck, I hope this works. So a lot of free stuff out there. You could probably figure it out on your own. I would just caution you to be very, very careful doing that way.
Yeah. There's coaches for everything, every strategy that you want to find within real estate. You just got to figure out which one is the one you want to do, and then find a coach that is in that space. Guys, but we reached the end of the time here. I promise for these subsequent webinars, it's going to be a better format so that we can see each other's faces. Please help me thank Steve here for his time. I know he's a very busy man. Thank you for everybody to joining us today.
Something?
Yes. Please, dude, chime in. Let us know. Give it away.
You do it.
For how many people are we going to do, Steve?
Call it, brother. Dealer's choice.
So we wanted to do something special, right? For people that join the webinar, for those who register as well, who are not, who I know, I understood this because I know a lot of guys are flying, right? And a lot of them will tell me, hey man, we're flying out. I'll be flying during the webinar time, but I'll register so I can get the recording. So we'll select a few candidates that register for this webinar so they can get some free coaching calls from Steve and myself on whatever it is that you want to do, right? Whatever it is that you're looking to do within real estate, we're going to choose a couple of candidates and we're going to hop on a few calls and help guide you in the right direction and gain your goal. Am I, Steve? Are we getting to where it is? How far
you're good. You're good. So yeah, look, I'm a big believer in giving back. Obviously my time is pretty limited, but I do believe in helping out and giving back. And I only want to help people that want to be helped, right? So if you're like, hey, you don't need my help, you don't think I'm valuable, it's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But if you think that Satch and I can add value, I'm willing to do a 15-20 minute call. Obviously I'm pretty busy, but I think it's important to try to give back. And if you guys think I could give you some value, I think Satch and I just want to give you a different perspective. Sometimes just having a conversation, if you think that, whether it's me coaching and mentoring you or just saying, hey, I got a question, how do you do this or that? I'll let Satch determine how he does it. But I'd be willing to help out and help some of you guys out if you think I can add value. Get in touch with Satch and plead your case. I'm not going to take everyone because I just don't have that much time. But I will take some people, and I'd be happy to help and give my perspective. I do coach weekly group coaching calls. So I do that. Satch, maybe we can give everyone here a free 1 week, session to my group coaching call or something like that with all the other people. Maybe we can do something like that as well. They can start mixing with other people to start learning how to grow and scale outside of the airline industry.
Cool. Love it. There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, again, thank you everyone for coming. And we're going to try to do these webinars with valuable information for the upcoming months. And these are going to become more exclusive to our Facebook group. And if there was something from this webinar today that you guys want to expand on, that you would like to see in a future webinar, just throw it in the Facebook group, shoot me a text or message, whatever. Just let me know. We'll love to know. And if anybody can, please, I want to get some engagement in that Facebook group. If there's something you took from today, from this webinar, from Steve, throw it in the Facebook group so that other people that did not make it can see some of the valuable information that they missed here. Cool. Steve, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
See ya.